if you're not aware of the whole situation with the Hong Kong protesters and the NBA, Blizzard, a lot of companies are starting to face a lot of controversy in regards to them turning a blind eye towards the situation that the things that China does, are arresting Muslims, Christians, homosexuals, pretty much anyone who pretty much that China doesn't like, and then complain about here in America about homophobia and all this sort of things, right? It's really hypocritical. Now, LeBron James, he actually stood with Kaepernick when he said, yeah, he has every right to protest during the NFL, and he says like, oh, the America's racist and stuff like that. Sure, because we're not locking up Muslims for no freaking reason other than because they're Muslims, right? China does that. You want to complain? Go complain to China. Oh wait, that's right, because the NBA likes to bow down to the Chinese overlords and kiss their butts. Okay, I'm not gonna say the other word, but you get the point. Okay, now. I know it seems a little far-fetched, but I knew somewhat about the Hong Kong protests. Tim Pool covered this. I was looking up an article as well. But it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. And again, I could be wrong, but it's very coincidental that South Park does an episode about this. And South Park is a very popular show. A lot of people just watch it to get laughs. You don't have to be political. I watch it because I just want to forget about certain stuff, right? Sure, obviously it does bring up some political stuff, but they make it funny. It's not serious. It's not hard. They just make it funny, and that's why I like it. Sure, it gives me some information, right? If you believe it or not, I had no idea what gender identity was until South Park showed the sissy on the season. I think it was 19? Was it 19? No, 18? No, it was 17. Yeah, it was 18. Yeah, because 19 was PC Principal when he barely came in, and then it was season 20. I'm pretty sure it was season 18. But that episode comes out, and I know, okay, now I know what gender identity is. Obviously, they were trying to make a joke about gender identity and the problems of the pros and cons of what when it comes to gender identity. And how it can confuse kids sometimes. But the point was, I learned gender identity from South Park. When it comes to this, I think that when South Park started talking about China and the way companies, they like to bend the knee and turn a blind eye to the things that that they claim to fight for. For example, Disney saying that if you do not like Captain Marvel because she's a very badly written character, or you don't like Rey from Star Wars because she's a very badly written character and has no character arc, no progression, they will call you sexist. But China has no, when China says, well, you cannot, you cannot do this, and when it comes to these characters, it's like, okay, China, good for you. When you criticize Black Panther for being too overhyped, I thought it was overhyped. I didn't think it was a bad movie, but I thought it was it could have been better, right? I felt like the trailers were overhyping the movie, and I feel like that kind of didn't help. But if you criticize Black Panther, what were you called? Racist. You're racist against black people, right? But if you look at the Chinese poster, let me give you an example before we read to the article. Let's look up the Chinese poster of Black Panther. See. So let's look at the Chinese poster of Black Panther. So if people criticize you for being racist, for criticizing Black Panther, well, in order to promote Black Panther, China requested that this specific poster, the one with T'Challa looking at his claws, and the American version, they requested that T'Challa's face be covered up because they didn't want to see his face. That's racism. That's actual racism. But Disney didn't say anything to China because they wanted the money. They wanted the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins. And if you're not aware of what I mean by that, Benjamin Franklin, $100 bill. Again, if you don't know that analogy, I like to use it a lot. Probably because I watch White Chicks too much. It's a movie, an old movie. But anyways, you get the point. They like to claim that if you didn't like Black Panther, or you found something remotely wrong with Black Panther. In my case, I just thought it was overhyped. I didn't really like the fact that they overhyped it and then it just didn't deliver. They will call me racist for that. But China is not racist for covering up the face of a black actor, specifically saying we do not want the face of a black actor in our country. That's racist, but Disney said, okay, China, yes, China, we will bow down to your wishes. LeBron James the same way. Stands with Kaepernick saying that he has every right to do it, and then when people, the actual fans, are going to games and they're getting kicked out for literally showing signs that says, I stand with the Hong Kong protesters, and not to mention he's literally going against Daryl Morey, I don't know how to pronounce it, and saying that he's the one who's misinformed. No, I think he's the one that's misinformed. Okay, LeBron James thinks that China's so great and nice, and that's the thing. Whenever I hear celebrities and people of higher status say certain things or their political opinions, I'm not saying they don't have a right to say it, but I don't take them into consideration because here's two reasons why. Either these people actually believe it and they're definitely wrong, right? They're definitely misinformed, or they know it's wrong, but they do not want to lose their jobs. In this case, LeBron James, he might be saying this because he doesn't want to lose his job, right? Again, when it comes to athletes, sometimes your careers are not very stable, right? You could probably get injured and then not play again, right? You have to retire early because you're too old to play now. You have to retire in your 40s. Sure, you have a lot of money, but you get the picture, right? I don't. In this case, whether LeBron James is saying this because he actually believes it, or he's just saying that so he can keep his job, we don't know. But in my opinion, that's why I don't take celebrity opinions seriously. Because some people say those things just to keep their jobs. Others say it because they actually believe it, and I think that's dangerous too. But anyways, let's read it. Now, let's read the article. It's from the Washington Post, and it reads, LeBron James usually gets it right. On Daryl Morey, he was the one who was misinformed. Okay? And it's from today. Yeah, from today, the 15th. At its core, the latest twist in this peculiar NBA China controversy comes down to this. LeBron James is annoyed that Daryl Morey wasn't more careful with his words, and how did James express his frustration? By not being careful with his own words. Naturally, this ongoing saga makes us dumber and more distracted by the day. There's nothing wrong with James feeling the players and teams visiting China last week were put in a difficult position after Morey, the Houston Rockets general manager, posted a tweet supporting pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. Free speech is always wonderful for the individual, but complicated for any group he represents. As the biggest star in the NBA, James made a useful point when he called for a consideration for the consequences and ramifications before making a powerful statement that affects the entire league. And here's the thing, they do make a point to some degree, like, for example, like say, I think what is it like? For example, free speech. Yeah, it's a very wonderful thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with the NBA going to China, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go visit China because you want to see, Beijing, and you want to travel, by all means, go on ahead. But the problem here is that the NBA likes to act political in the United States, and yet they go to China and then they pretty much do the things that they tell us not to do. LeBron James complained about how the word owner is offensive because it's a callback to slavery, because all basketball players are black apparently, according to LeBron James, the majority of them, not all, but you get the point. He said owners is offensive, we need to change the word owners, stuff like that. I'm thinking, nah, dude, shut the hell up. You get paid millions of dollars to throw a ball around. I'm pretty sure you can tolerate having an owner of the team. Okay, you get the picture, right? Like I said, they like to act all PC and and all tolerant and stuff like that. Tolerant, I said in quotes, in the United States. But when it comes to China, China, you guys, is that a guy you guys are killing because he said something you don't agree with? I didn't see that. Oh, is that a Muslim you're arresting? Even though in our country we are defending Muslims at all costs. Oh, you're arresting him because he's a Muslim? I didn't see that either. You see what I mean? It's the blatant hypocrisy. That's the problem. These companies say that, you need to be woke, you need to be tolerant of everyone, and then China does the opposite, and they say, oh, it's okay, China, don't worry, China, it's okay, right? That's the problem. That's the problem people are having, the hypocrisy. James should have kept his message that simple and focused, but self-importance got the best of him. When speaking to reporters for the first time Monday about the China fiasco, James ventured into a territory so dangerous that he damaged his sterling reputation as an enlightened icon. And I think he did. He accused Morey of being misinformed or not really educated on the situation. He spent way too much time bellyaching about players having business to take care of while they were over there, and how these potential money-making appearances were cancelled. Worst of all, they used the same kind of loaded language about Morey's fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong, tweet that others resort to when dismissing the protest of domestic social concerns that matter to him. Yeah. It's pretty hilarious how when Colin Kaepernick was protesting, the so-called national anthem, LeBron James was all about it. He supported Kaepernick, right? He said, America's oppressive, it's racist, and all these things. And China's doing the exact same thing. They're oppressing their people, and they're being racist. But LeBron James has no problem with China, because everyone loves China. China is a free and loving country, according to Randy Marsh. In reality, it's not. Of course, it's sarcasm. I don't want you to fact check me and say, well, Carlos is wrong. He declares China to be free and loving country. No, it's a joke, dude. Okay, don't fact check a joke. But anyways, let's keep going. James harped on the timing of Morey's tweet, which would have been fine if his tone hadn't been so callous. The LA Lakers star even took to Twitter after his media session and grumbled that Morey could have waited a week to send it. The NBA would have been done playing exhibition games in China. The backlash still would have been intense, but the NBA employees wouldn't have had to face it in person. There's a delicate way to say that, but James sounded like an NFL fan crying about players kneeling and making demonstrations during the national anthem. Protest some other time. Protest somewhere else. There are always the suggestions of people who care nothing about your social concerns. Misinformed, that is the code for we hope to make your compassion seem like overhauled emotional idiocy. Consequences and ramifications, in James' tone, it can be taken to sound suspiciously like stop messing with my money. And the thing, it's all about money. It's all about money. That's why companies are willing to literally bend the knee, turn the blind eye to problems that quote unquote are fighting in America. And in reality, China does this and they just say, we didn't see anything. See what I mean? That's the problem. And here's the thing. When it comes to protests, one of the things that I'm very critical of is when it happens during a game. The reason why I criticize Kaepernick when it comes to protesting the national anthem was the fact that he did it during a game. Why doesn't he do it on his own spare time? Why doesn't he help black charities or make a scholarship that benefits the black community instead of complaining about the national anthem on television? Why don't you do it on your own free time? That's the thing. The way I determine when someone's genuinely trying to do something for the better and actually trying to help, the cause that they're trying so-called fighting for, is are they willing to do it on their own time? When Kaepernick started kneeling the national anthem, I started questioning, is this guy serious or is he just trying to get attention? Because that's the thing. For example, one of the things that was very common in school was picking up your trash, right? Pick up your trash and stuff like that, right? Be respectful to other people. Pick up your trash. Usually, teachers, in many cases in the classrooms, they would incentivize a reward for keeping your classroom clean, right? Some students kept it clean by themselves. See a piece of paper on the floor, pick it up. But other kids were like this: "Hey, look, teacher, I'm picking up a piece of trash on the floor. Can I get a candy now?" And those kids existed because I was one of them, and I'm pretty sure you knew a lot of kids who did those things just because they wanted the attention. They wanted to look good. Same thing with Kaepernick. Like I said, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a right to protest, but the thing is, if he was really serious about it, he would have done it outside of the football game. Same thing here. People here are doing it outside of the games too, and that's something that I like to see. Murray, I could be wrong, but I think he's doing it outside of the NBA too. The problem is that he's connected with the NBA, and there lies the problem. But people who are really passionate about this are putting their support, they're holding up protest signs and all these things. That's what I like to see. That's why I know people are genuine about this movement, because they're doing stuff outside outside of the cameras, away from the cameras. They believe in Hong Kong, having their freedom, that they're willing to do it without the cameras looking at them. That's how I know these people are genuine. In this case, it's very hypocritical. But anyways, let's keep going. I don't believe that was his intention. It seems that James simply wanted to stand up for the players and criticize Murray, who tweeted, clarifying why he disappeared from the public eye for blindsiding them with controversy and forcing them into a situation that which they were expected to take a stand on an unfamiliar issue. Because the NBA canceled player media availabilities in China, James had more than a week to organize his thoughts. He even could have run them by the public relations officials for insight on how his remarks would be received. But when he spoke, he was more graceless, impulsive, and ignorant than he has ever been. He needed to keep his message tidy and succinct. I think you should pronounce it. He should have copied how the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, chose to frame the large and divisive geopolitical dispute as simply as an issue of freedom of speech for Murray in the league. While many criticize Silver for not openly supporting Hong Kong's fight to protect its human rights, he did this. He did his job, at least as the commissioner of the multi-billion-dollar business financially wedded to the Chinese market, and in trying to balance the rights of the NBA employees with a lucrative partnership. The Chinese government wanted Silver to punish Murray for questioning its totalitarian ways. Ultimately, after trying to massage the situation, Silver had said no, because that is not the NBA or the American way. Silver won't win humanitarian of the year for caring only about his league, but it's naive to think he would handle this peculiar matter in any other way. Whether Silver wants to pander the Chinese market, I think it's wrong, very hypocritical. But the fact that he's willing to stay outside of China, I'm sorry, China, but no. We are not going to fire this guy because he criticized your policies. It is America. We have a right to express ourselves. Whether it's a private company or not, like I said, it's a private company. They have a right to fire him legally because, again, it's a private company. They can do whatever the hell they want. But I like that Silver literally had some sort of integrity and said, no, China, we're not going to bow down to your concerns. This is America. This is America. We have a right to free speech here. And if you don't like it, then get out, right? You know what I mean? I get another South Park reference. I get the point, right? Again, props to Silver. I don't like the idea of him pandering to China, but at least he has some sort of integrity. Again, another South Park reference. But anyways, let's keep going. An uncomfortable fact of life. It takes a shameful amount of personal hypocrisy and willful negligence for all of us to get through each day. Even those blessed with great morality tolerate, if not contribute to, immoral behavior. Clearly, James lives too far from Hong Kong to be moved by the protesters taking a stand at a great risk to protect their diminishing freedom. Clearly, considering how their controversy stunned most American NBA fans, this human rights struggle isn't an issue high on our priority list either. In an ideal world, that's not okay. In a realistic one, that's life. Yeah, definitely. It really is. That's how life works. Life is not perfect. There's problems going around every single day. But many people You just don't pay attention to them. And that's what, like I said, it's very coincidental that now people are bringing a lot of attention to this, coincidentally after South Park decided to make fun of it. I'm just saying. But anyways, let's keep going. For James, the problem is that he made human compassion a significant part of his brand. He grew up admiring Muhammad Ali, and in his own way, he has used the Ali model to transcend sports in a responsible manner. He has used his voice to support Black Lives Matter, to denounce gun violence, and call President Trump a bum for the way he treats people. He has challenged the NCAA on its financial exploitation of college athletes. A year ago, he opened a school to turn around the lives of some of Akron's most at-risk children. Most of the time, you can depend on James to be thoughtful and an impassioned public figure, the quintessential athlete icon. And again, that's the thing, very hypocritical, that LeBron James is willing to do all these things, call President a bum, support and fight for the betterment of Black America, when in reality, China is doing the exact same things that they claim Trump is doing. Right? They say Trump is exterminating Latinos. No, he's not. But China is arresting Christians and Muslims principally for being Christians and Muslims. They're arresting people who have a disagreeing opinion. Here you can say, F Trump, and you'll be safe and sound. No one's going to come to arrest you. If you go to China and say, F the Chinese president, guaranteed you're going to die by the end of the day. Guaranteed. But anyways, let's keep going. But this time, James, whose net worth has been estimated as high as $455 million, acted like the person of privilege that he has become. He was so lost on this issue that even his Twitter clarification missed the mark. Let me clear up the confusion, James wrote. I do not believe there was any consideration for the consequences and ramifications of the tweet. I'm not discussing the substance. Others can talk about that. It's impossible to go after Murray, to call him misinformed, without addressing the substance. James could have avoided this mess by saying, I respect Murray's concerns about Hong Kong and his right to express himself, but I wish he would have found a way to avoid putting the rest of us in such an awkward situation. I don't think he realized how strong the backlash was going to be. Like Silver, James wouldn't have won any awards for focusing on his interests, but it's a lot better to be considered self-absorbed than narrow-minded. For a superstar who has enhanced his career with his more than an athlete proclamations, James failed to live up to his own standard. He thought he could shame a rival general manager for causing him a few days of discomfort without adding anything worthwhile to the larger debate. He thought his temporary strife actually mattered. It was an ignorant error that stamped James with the same label he tried to attach to Murray, misinformed. That concludes the article. Like I said, China, whether or not you stand with the protesters, again, it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you where you're right or wrong. But again, the problem that I have with these companies pandering to China is that they're very hypocritical. Disney will call you racist if you criticize Black Panther, but they have no problem saying they have no problem letting China cover up Chadwick's face on their poster because he's black. They have no problem with that. But if you criticize Black Panther in America, you're called racist and you're called a white supremacist. Even though you thought the movie was overhyped. Even if it's a legitimate criticism. In my case, I just thought the movie was overhyped. It was okay, it was good, it just wasn't as fantastic as people said it was. I just thought it was overhyped. And then people say, whoa, Carlos, you're racist for criticizing Black Panther. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's how I felt about the movie. Same thing with Rey. I love Star Wars, but I think Rey is just a very linear character with no sense of progression. She doesn't feel human, and she has no character arc. And then I'll be called a sexist for it. But China has they don't have a problem with China doing the same thing over there. They don't have a problem. Why? Because China has a lot of people, and all they want is the money. But let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think that LeBron James has ruined his image? Do you think this is going to be have a long-lasting effect in his career, or do you think that it's just temporary, right? It's just going to be like a little bruise in the hand and just goes away by itself? And do you think it's very hypocritical of LeBron James to fight for Black lives and fight for the Black community and saying that Trump is a racist and supremacist, stuff like that, and yet he's turning a blind eye to to what China actually does? What Trump is being accused of, China's actually doing, and it's very hypocritical. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber or you just barely subscribe, bookmark the page and then check on it daily, because I've gotten a lot of messages from my friends saying that their notifications, some of them are going directly to spam, meaning they're not getting notified. Therefore, just bookmark the page. If you want to subscribe, you want to see my content on a daily basis, bookmark the page, check on it on a daily basis. Try to upload every single day, sometimes every other 2 days, depending on how busy I am. But if you don't want to do that, just share the video. That lets me know lets me know that you think my content is worthy of sharing, and you want other people to hear what I have to say. YouTube has decided to direct independent political commentary, and you sharing the video helps me bypass all those restrictions, and I very much appreciate it. But again, let me know in the comment section below, and again, of course, keep it respectful. I can't dictate what you have to say, but I try not to block comments or remove comments, because again, it's America, it's freedom of speech, and you have a right to your opinion, and I have no right to tell you what you can and cannot think. I'm not trying to convince you to my side, it's just letting you know my opinion, and if you disagree, by all means, let me know why. Alright? Have a good rest of the night, you guys. Stay awesome.